Imagine having the life of your dreams. Not temporary cash and glory, but happiness and inner peace. Explore new ways to be a creator and take your own journey into greatness. Is it possible? What does it take to make that happen? It takes the person known for extreme results. He's called the cage breaker and the ultimate catalyst. Coming back from the brink of death and now crushing it for himself and his clients, this is Your Ultimate Life Podcast with Kellen Flukiger.
Hey there, welcome to today's episode of Your Ultimate Life, the podcast show dedicated to helping you achieve exactly the life you want. A life, I define the ultimate life as having the purpose, prosperity, and joy that you want. Now, I don't know if you have that. I don't know if your life is such that you are living exactly as you dream. You're certainly living the life you created. No, we all are. And that is one of the fundamental truths we have to figure out if we're ever going to create the life we dream. There's the life we have and the life we dream. And sometimes, we think the life we dream is the life we want, but it isn't. Now, you might get mad at me, but that's okay, because the life you have is the one you want. And that is sometimes painful, but it's true. So instead of ranting about that, let's figure out what to do with that. So if you have the life you want, how is that even true? Well, if you wanted something different, you'd be a different person. You'd behave differently. Let's start with money. If you wanted more money, and I start with that not because it's the most important, because it isn't, but because it's something I hear about an awful lot with people that I talk to, either prospects or clients or just regular folks. They're concerned about their finances, the economics, their job, their ability to have income. And if they have basic needs met, then their ability to have fun and enjoy life and do some other stuff. If you want more money, you need to be someone different than you are, because who you're being right now is creating the money you have. And I don't mean you need to go get a makeover or be someone, some magical difference. Funny, I just watched with family last night one of the Fantastic Beasts movies, the last one, Secrets of Dumbledore. And, of course, that Phoenix keeps coming in that time to Clarence, Credence Barebone, who's also Dumbledore. And if you haven't followed that stuff, that's fine. But the Phoenix comes because he's nearly dead. He's dying inside because of some obscure stuff. But we're not going to get into that. But here's the thing. If you want to rise like a phoenix from the ashes, you have to do something different. Like there's no one going to come to the rescue. There's people that are willing to help you. I've had divine interventions in my life, but those interventions were invitations. So in 2007, when I had the divine intervention that invited me to change my life and get sober, because I'd been a serious cocaine addict and attempted suicide, when I had that intervention, it didn't change anything about my life. It was a big slap, a wake-up call, a stunning opportunity to wake up, but it didn't do any of the work. The cravings didn't change. The depression didn't change. The feeling of worthlessness and no goodness didn't change. The feeling of being isolated, alone, and et cetera, that didn't change. But what changed was a huge invitation. It's time to be different. So we're starting a new year a couple of weeks ago. Why don't you let this be your invitation to create something new? Because you've already created what you have, so have I. And that might be painful, or might be more fun to blame others, the economy, the crash of this or the crash of that, COVID, or, people's behavior, how our society is changing. I was just thinking last night in those Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp starred as the Captain Jack Sparrow for several of them, all of them, I think, 4 or 5 of them. And then they kicked him out. No, we don't want to have you? Because he was accused of something. Now, it turns out after they went to court that what he was accused of couldn't be proven. So he was innocent. But it still spoiled not only that relationship, but him as a person. So that happened to him. It did. It happened to him. The same thing happened in the Harry Potter movies. He played some dude, Grindelwald, in the Fantastic Beasts movies for the first two, and then in the third one he didn't for the same reason. Something related to that, lawsuits and stuff about him. So those things happened to him. They did, and he could. And I don't know what he's doing, and I don't know Johnny Depp. I know his works, and I've enjoyed him as an actor, clear back when he was on 21 Jump Street decades ago. He can now, at this moment, make a choice to be bitter, angry, and write memoirs and rail against the unfairness of being judged ahead of time, etc., etc. Or he can make other choices and build a career back if he wants one, or a different career as a musician or as an actor or something else. So that's a choice he gets to make. And we might think, well, he has a lot of money, so it's easy for him. And the answer is no, it's not. When my divine intervention happened in 2007, I had a lot of money too. And it was very difficult, challenging, heartbreaking, just screamingly difficult to make the changes required to stop being riddled with drugs, depression, attempted suicide, and all of the things that are part of that. So here's the truth. At the new year here, we create our new year. Now, you may have already set some goals for the new year, and you may have already fallen off the wagon. I don't know. By the time this comes out, it's due to come out on the 16th, which is a couple weeks after New Year's, right? Have you made a choice about what this year is about? I titled this, What is this year about for you? 2024, a brand new year. So what? Is it going to be the same as last year? Is it going to be worse? Is it going to be better? And when I ask myself that, and I ask others that, often the tone of the answer is, well, I don't know, it depends. It does, but it doesn't depend on what we often think. What we often think is it depends on the weather, the economy, the job, how, these other things outside of us. And I can't scream loud enough. It does not depend on that. Those things will happen like they did to me to wake me up. The ones I just referred to Johnny Depp. There's others to lots of people. And maybe you think right now of things last year that happened that were the most difficult for you, challenging, outside of your control. Maybe a health challenge. Maybe someone ripped you off. Maybe you lost a job. I don't know. Think of the biggest challenges. Then think of the biggest positive things that were outside of you. Those don't change who we are unless we let them. And who we are is what creates our life. I can have a happy year even in the midst of a depression or a recession. I can have a happy year even if I'm sick in the hospital. I say that not because it's some woo-woo stuff. I did it. I know it. I felt it. You guys know the story. 5 years ago, I died. Spent a month in a coma, flatlined, and lost 35 pounds, couldn't walk, had to relearn everything all over again. But I decided that was going to be a building block and something that made me better, stronger, more loving, more kind, more joyful. I just decided that. And so it did. I could just as easily have been bitter, angry, why did this happen to me, and all the rest. And then it would have created a different outcome. Now, often we think that kind of language only has to do with airy-fairy stuff, non-tangible stuff. It has to do with your bank account. What you believe you can create, you will create. That's why I say we have the life we want. Because if we wanted something different, really wanted it, we'd go do something different than we're doing. I don't know what that would be for you, but when I talk to people and they tell me where we're talking about money, it's not the only thing, but when they say they want more money, I ask what they're doing to create more cash. The list is usually really short, other than complain, other than bitch about boss or job, other than bitch about unemployment or other things. They aren't usually taking action, serious, consistent, direct, motivated action to get to the goal that whatever it is that they've declared, in this case, more money. So then I said, well, then you don't really want it. Well, yeah, I do. Okay, well, if you were drowning, how bad would you try to get out of the water? Well, we know furiously. Why? Because it would preserve life. When you or I, when we want something bad enough, as bad as we want to breathe, then we'll be able to figure out how to do it. So we can't pretend that we want something if we're not going all in for it. We can pretend, but that's what we're doing, is pretending. All right. So if you want the life you dream, and by life, that's this big thing, pick a thing, pick 2 things. Don't pick 10. Is it more money? Is it more health? Is it a better relationship? Those are always the big 3: health, wealth, and relationships. What do you want? Anything, doesn't matter. Is it noted specifically? Have you decided this year, 2024, is about that thing? And you can have more than 1, but not 10, 1 or 2. Then the question is, what are you willing to do about that? Here's what I know. If I say, and I have said, this year I'm going to publish a book. It's written, it'll be out in January. I have 3 more that I want to publish. I'm thinking about them. I have them named. I have them organized. Don't have the full outline done. But I need to talk to my publisher and Joy, my business partner, to see if it makes sense to do those this year or not. And then we'll decide, and then we'll allocate time accordingly. So if you have a goal, if you decide what this year is about for you, and I urge you to decide, because what we know for sure is if we just cruise along, then life will just cruise along, and nothing exciting or powerful will happen. And I mean that sincerely, even if externalities happen. In 2018, right, Joy and I were just cruising along, and then we went on a cruise, and I got sick, went to the hospital and died, so it changed not only the rest of 2018, but everything in my life since then. The way it changed my life was my call. That's the point I'm trying to get across. The stuff around us happens. The way it impacts you is your choice and my choice. So I invite you, this new year is a new beginning. Grab a pencil, if you dare, right now. Grab something. Write it down. Put it in your phone, for crying out loud. What is this year about? What is it about? Creating more financial stability? Is it about improving your health? Losing some weight, or getting in some shape, or gaining some weight, or overcoming an illness or something? What is it about? And then decide what that means for you. Like, you don't have to use New Year's, but it is New Year, and a lot of people set goals there. So I do. My year just happens to start October 14th. But I set new goals last October, 2.5 months ago. Are you clear about what your goals are for this year? Now, you're free to have none, in which case you'll just cruise along. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those of you who have an ache, a yearning, a desire, who want the cash. So let's pick money, since that's always a big one. And you can hear anything in the place of that. Okay, but let's pick money. Do you want to create more cash? Here is how. Pick an area where you believe you can create cash. Now, here are the hallmarks of success. Don't look for get rich quick. Don't look for push button magic. Don't look for some crap that says, give me a bunch of money and I'll trade it in crypto for you and quadruple your money. You know what? A few people have done that. Many have invested in schemes and failed. I have a personal client who did that. Absolutely put $10,000 in there. All the promises, you've heard them, lost it all. They're not the only one. It was a reinvestment scheme, and it might have worked if the trend line on the particular crypto would have been exactly as predicted, but it wasn't. You went to withdraw the money, and it's gone, and et cetera, et cetera. So you know the drill. That happens over and over again. Instead, pick something you can impact instead of some hopeful thing that the crypto gods will impact or the economy gods. Pick something that you can do to make money. Now, I'll tell you some of the things I do, not because you need to do them, but to give you some ideas. I write. I love to write. I write well, but it's because I've learned. I didn't know how to write well. I do music. I create music. So I've got a lot of music done, already out. If you haven't checked it out, go to my name on Spotify and listen to some of it. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll hate it. I'd love to know what you think, by the way. Anyway, I'm going to do more of that. But besides just doing more, my partner, Joy, and I, she's my wife, my angel, but also my business partner, we have some plans about marketing. Marketing is simply the act of allowing people to know what you are creating. Now, maybe you've got nothing to do with online business or using the internet in any way other than for social media posting. Maybe your more money is getting a different job. Maybe there are some skills you need to develop to do that. What is your plan? What is this year about? If this year is about doubling your income, okay, what would that take? What skills do you need so that people pay you twice what they pay you now? What products or services can you offer in the company you're in or on the side as a side hustle so that people are absolutely willing to pay you? You know what's fun, and Joy and I talk about this all the time, the number of ways to make money now are just endless. They're growing all the time. Some specific examples. Everybody's heard about AI, ChatGPT, artificial intelligence. I personally know at least 3 people right now, today, who've already jumped into that and in one way or 4, actually, in one way or another way, are using that ChatGPT, the talk version, and one of them's using pictures and art to create cash. Here's what they did. They went in, they decided it was worth the time and effort and energy to research how to use those tools well in a particular way, not in general. And then they've created a product to help other people learn what they learned, only do it faster. Well, we pay for that all the time. We pay for shortcuts. People buy cliff notes of books. What is that? Well, somebody read the book, took the time to create a summary of what they believed at least was the most important stuff, and they sell it. Why do you buy it? Why do I buy it? Well, it saves a little time. I get to read the important points, and then I don't have to either buy the book or take the time to read it. Now, maybe they did a good job and maybe they didn't. That's a whole different question. But if you read the Cliff Notes, the short version, and get value out of it, then it was worth your money. And so you spent money for that person's energy. That's exactly the money equation. We have to figure out a way, you do, I do, to create some cash. So back to the first question, what is this year about? This is January. It's a new beginning. If you decide you're going to create a pile of money this year, a certain size, 50,000, 100,000, a million, it doesn't matter. There's the pile. You say it, and then the next question is, what do I need to do? Who do I need to be so that I can create something that people give me that money for? Like, this is not a difficult equation. What becomes difficult is the story where we say, I can't do that. I don't know how. Nonsense. Talk to me. I'll tell you exactly how. I will tell you how. I'll tell you the first part now, and then I'd love to have a conversation to dig into your specific circumstance. But here's how. You need to figure out something you can do that people will pay for. I just gave you an example. 3, 4 of them. I know 4 people that are doing stuff with different versions of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT or Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, the art sites. One's doing with several are doing with chat and others. And I know someone who's creating some other, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I know someone right now who's using another set of tools that's available to you. You just may not know it. They're repackaging them and selling them to a certain audience. But they found that out. They said, I wonder if anybody's made a tool to do this. And sure enough, they had, and you can buy them with private label rights, which means they can buy the rights to this and resell it. The person that makes it makes money because if a whole bunch of people buy this thing, and they are, and then adapt it for their own use, they made money for doing the work. Each person who buys it and twists it and turns it and paints it and does its thing a little different makes some money. And so it's adding value. So if you want to create some cash, then you need to decide what is there that you are willing to do. See, people start with, I don't know how and I can't do that. That's bullshit. What that means is you're not willing to learn. You're not willing to get help. You're not willing to go find out how. What you want, maybe, I don't know, I'm not saying you, but maybe you, is you want it with the easy button delivered on Amazon with the guarantee it'll work. Well, you can't have that. Every person who's made a lot of money has to go through the trial and error phase, has to go through the failure phase. It's funny, I read a post a few months ago by the first wife of Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk's in the news a lot, the creator of PayPal and SpaceX and Tesla and some other stuff, and he's a gazillionaire, right? And someone asked her the question, if I want it really bad and I put in all the work, will I be a billionaire? She said, no. And, she could have said yes, but she said no because she wanted to make a different point. Her point was you have to be willing to, and then she listed swim with the sharks, have people hate your guts and try to take you down, and listed all these negative things that in her experience she'd witnessed in the life of Elon Musk when they were married, and that he had to deal with in order to get through that. And so whether you like him or not, whether you like X or not, or SpaceX or any of the things that he's done, he was willing to go do what it took to create something. PayPal, I think, was his first big hit. He created PayPal and then sold it for $1 gazillion. I think he sold it to eBay to start with. I don't know who owns it now. But anyway, so, and you don't have to start with the idea of $1 billion. What if you wanted to make $50,000 this year, more than you're making already doing whatever you're doing? What can you do that someone would pay you to do? And if your first thought is, I don't know, I can't do anything, you're finished. If your first thought is, wow, I don't know yet, but I can sure think about it, you're good to go, to start. If your thought is, wow, I don't have any time to do anything, you're finished. If your thought is, well, I'll have to create some time. I'll have to think about what I could do. I'll have to create some time. I need to be need to not be afraid to fail, because I'm going to fail. I'm going to have to play with it. Ask anybody that ever created anything valuable that made a lot of money for them, for example. They failed a bunch of times. People laughed, said they couldn't. They put it in the marketplace and nobody bought. That happens all the time. The ones that win are the ones that take that as feedback and say, okay, that didn't work. What can we do next? So back to the very first premise, which is you have the life you want. You don't have the life you dream, but you have the life you want. Now, if you'd like to figure out how to get from what you want to what you dream, because you created what you have, period, end. There's no question about that. You can get mad at me for saying it, but that's how it is. I'd like to help you get to what you're dreaming. I call it the ultimate life. Now, the first thing I have for you is some free stuff. Doesn't even cost you anything except a little time to go read it. And then a lot of time to take action and make it happen in your life. It's right there at that website, www.yourultimatelife.ca. I use .ca because we're in Canada. Yourultimatelife.ca. Now, you can say, just a bunch of crap. You're right, and it won't do a thing for you. But I can promise you something. If you go to that site and you download that 5 master keys to creating your ultimate life, you're going to have in your hands exactly what I did and what I keep doing to create the life that I enjoy. I love my life. I have money. I have purpose. I have prosperity, and I have joy. I'm married to joy, but I also have perpetual joy all the time. If I can do it, you can do it. There's nothing interesting or special about me except finally, after I was 52, I woke up and realized I have the potential to do this. I refuse to take no for an answer. I refuse to stop making excuses. I refuse to play the game of it's not my fault. I can't do this. Why is it so hard? I don't know how. I refused to stop playing that game. So here's my invitation. My commitment this year, and I don't know what year you're going to hear it, but the year between October 14th, 2023 and October 14th, 2024, because my year starts October 14th, that year I'm going to help 250 million people to discover and to create that ultimate life. I invite you to be one of them. First, go sign up for this free stuff. Reach out to me if you'd like to talk. I've become an expert at doing this. I've helped myself and a lot of other people. The reason I do it is because that's my mission. I've decided my purpose is to help as many people as I can own their opportunity, stop making excuses, and do what's in front of them. So I have a question for you to think about. Are you limiting yourself? I've lived there a lot. And I limited myself with stories and excuses. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I can't do this. It'll work for somebody else, but not me. And 100 versions of each of those stories. And as long as I believed them, they were true. When I stopped believing them, I don't know how. Okay, I'll find out. I'll research. I'll go talk to somebody. I'll get a coach. I'll do something to find out. I'm not going to be limited by I don't know how. Overcome that. I don't have time. Good. I'll quit doing some things. Went through my calendar carefully and intentionally and eliminated a lot of stuff. And you know what? Today, I don't have any obligations. None. That might sound weird, but I don't. I have many commitments, but they're things that I want to do, things that I've committed to do because I choose them. And I live that way, so I have zero obligations. I know now that I can find out how to do anything. I've also discovered, and I'm sharing, it's not a secret, I'm sharing how to stay motivated, how to get up powerfully in the morning, how to wake up on fire, excited about what's in front of you today. What would that be like? Like stoked every day. I'm putting this out at the beginning of the new year because I want you to have that. You can live stoked every day. Who says you can't? Only you. Only you and the stories you have about what's going on around you. Well, you know what? I get a friend, Chris Doris. I love his stuff. I get an email from him every day, or nearly every day, that says he's a mental toughness coach. And he talks about when we make up stories and we believe them, we become stupid. We lose our creativity, our ability to find our way through, around, and over problems. When we instead wake up, choose to be powerful, choose to be optimistic, choose to look for positive opportunities and then go create them, choose to put in the effort, not only do we get the benefits of the effort, but we get smarter. There's tons of research and evidence that says when we are in a positive mental state, we're more creative. We're more capable. We have better access to our gifts and talents. When we're frustrated, angry, depressed, negative, we have less access. So part of the work is learning to change how we're looking at things, which is why I said in the very beginning, you have the life you want. The only thing between the life you want, which is what you have, and the one you're dreaming of, is your stories. My commitment is to help you eliminate the stories, walk the path, and be like this phoenix, rise from the ashes. Reach out. I'm all yours. Love to you. I know. If you do this, you will move on and create your ultimate life.
Open your heart and this time around,
Thank you for listening to today's episode. We hope that you take it deeply into your heart and decide for yourself how you can create anything you desire. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to this podcast and share it with your friends. As always, we'd love to hear your feedback and topic suggestions. Until tomorrow, this is Your Ultimate Life with host Kellen Flukiger.
stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on